Welcome to The Fix. Sit down with copywriting experts Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher as they review, discuss, and improve real-world copy sent in by you. This is The Fix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Fix. This is part 3 of our attempt to solve as many copywriting challenges as we can. All of these challenges were sent in by you, not you, the person, you, the audience, the collective. Glenn, we
are only speaking to you.
Yeah, I'm just talking to you at home watching this. Before I was talking to, you, all of you.
So I just say that is an actual copy skill, which I think about a lot, especially writing an email like newsletter. When you write your email newsletters, I only ever speak to one person, but you also have this collective you that's there in the room behind the person. It's something really interesting to think about.
You need to try and not acknowledge the fact that there's a huge audience of people potentially. Like, I know lots of you will think this. It's like, no, I won't talk to you. Anyway, you instantly become A, too self-indulgent, and B, too meta, which are the two guiding principles of your entire career, Glenn.
Yes.
Let's get into things.
Let me just enter the password of my computer. Nick's dream. Right. My name is...
God, stop. Begin.
I'm at the complete beginning of this journey, also learning about copywriting and trying to work out a clear plan of what I need to do. My biggest challenge is knowing how to get started and learn the skills necessary as an absolute beginner. That's a nice, simple challenge, but of course massive.
Yeah.
In fact, let me boil this down. What's your I'll reduce it to 3 things that you need to do if you are today you've gone, right, I want to be a copywriter. How do I start being a copywriter?
Okay, that's a hard challenge. It's hard. The first piece of advice, it's not something you can do, but something you need to acknowledge. That it's really hard to become a copywriter and it takes a long time. There's lots and lots of people online who want to tell you that you can. I mean, somebody wrote to me the other day and said, they don't know who I am, obviously. They wrote to me and said, I've helped people scale their copywriting clients to $10,000 per month without them having to lift a finger. And I thought, good on you, son. Well, obviously a complete lie, but whatever. And you will be told a lot about the place you can end up as a copywriter, which is a fantastic place. You can earn lots of money, have lots of creative freedom and a very cool life. However, there's a lot of hard graft. I would say between 3 and 5 years easily learning the skills and the core skills, and then probably another 5 years on top of that, developing them before you get to the real end goal, where you get the going gets really good. And I don't mean that to put you off, because it's a great journey to go on. But just
you've also got to go on that journey.
There's no other way.
There's no cheat.
Yeah, it's like running a marathon. There's no other way of doing it than to do it.
Yeah,
you just got to keep going.
So look out. You can get some good luck, and you can be accelerated in that, and get within a couple of years earning good money.
But the ultimate thing is going to take time.
And I fancy I connect with a lot of copywriters, and I've had a lot of people, especially through the book, that's kind of universalized my people who come to me. So I'll pure beginners, but then really experienced people. So I'll say it from a position of vague authority, that even those who have had good luck and gone slightly faster and have got to a good place still realize, or at least the good ones, still realize, oh, actually there's stuff I can learn here, there's stuff I can go on and think, not necessarily from me, I'm just saying generally, it will take, it's a forever learning. We're still learning all the time.
But that's just to say, don't be disheartened and don't expect it to all happen at once, because it's easy. Some people have that expectation. They want to give up after 6 months or whatever. It's going to take time. So just take a deep breath and get stuck in, with your eyes open. That's the first thing. Second thing I would say is...
so like more than one thing.
Well,
I'll let it... It's a mindset. First of all, adjust your mindset.
Yeah, well, there's a whole industry of people that want to sell you on the idea that it's easy. Those people are liars. There's no other word for it. That it is not easy. It is 100% worth doing, and it's a very, very worthwhile thing to dedicate your entire professional career to, but it's not easy. That's why we do it, and that's why the rewards are so good. So just keep that in mind. Second thing is read a lot of copy, brackets, and analyze it. So I know, I think you wrote about this in your book, and it's definitely a piece of advice that's out there, is you get people saying, write out lots of copy by hand. Okay, by all means do that. You've probably read that already. I would say just try to go one step further. Try and write an analysis of copy. So because the writing copy out by hand gets the style and tone and flow into your mind, but you can do it slightly brainlessly and not actually think about what's going on. I like to see copywriters who are able to break down a sales letter or a piece of copy line by line. What does each line do? So I would say every single day, take a piece of copy in the style or format or market that you want to work in, and literally ask yourself, what does every single line do? Is it a piece of proof? Is it a story? Is it a setup line? Is it a subhead? Is it a claim? Is it an objection handler? Everything. And ask yourself what's going on underneath that. I really like to see copywriters doing that, analysing copy, because once you're able to break a piece of copy down, you are then able to build it back up again. Yeah. And that's something I don't see enough of.
In my book, actually, the way I frame the exercise as a possible, this is an easy way to do it. I think you need to go deeper, as you described, Nick. Well, we talk about the 4 Ps, where you've got promise, picture, proof, and push. So you're either painting a picture, you're either making a promise, you're either providing proof, or you're pushing the reader to purchase your product. Almost every line should be doing one of those things in a piece of copy. If it's not by the 3rd line, then you've got a problem and you're rambling. But if you at least go through a piece of copy and think in those terms, is this a picture? Is this painting a picture? Is this making a promise to me? Is this providing proof? Or is it pushing me towards the sale? That will give you some basic structure for your analysis.
It's probably...
You can go further and you can start looking at what are the lines actually doing? Are they doing? Is this a story section? Is this a overcoming an objection? And go deeper, I think.
It's an analytical framework. There are others. It's definitely the one I would start with. But learn to analyze copy and figure out what every part of it is doing. So that's the second thing I would say. Third thing is a really obvious thing. But you will have heard me say before, if you've listened and watched The Fix for any length of time, get your copy reviewed. All copywriters who have succeeded have done so by working with other writers, being mentored, being edited, working with publishers, copy chiefs, however you want to think about it. That's true whether you work in an agency, a publisher, whether you work in the UK or the USA. Some people are self-taught, but in general, I'm yet to find somebody who was completely self-taught and very, very successful by my own estimation. There are people who seem to be doing okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But most of the best, all of the best writers I've ever met across any industry have had some form of mentorship and review and feedback process was help them sharpen their copy. When I started, the person who hired me, James Woody, who runs the Agora business down in Australia now, he just, I used to write copy and he'd usually have his hand over the document when I came into the room. And he'd sort of be nice to me for a minute, and then he'd say, yeah, there's some good stuff here, but then he'd move his hand, there'd just be a big red line through it. And then you'd start again, and that's that sentence of just no, until eventually, he'd say, this line here, I like this, develop this. Most people learn to write copy like that. So seek that out. Follow-up point, that is exactly why we started The Fix Accelerator, and we've now just launched The Fix Academy, which is to provide people with that place they can go to get feedback. We do it for free here at The Fix. We do it regularly every week live in the Fix Accelerator. And at The Fix Academy, we actually work with writers one-on-one. We effectively copy, chief, and line edit their work. So there's various different things that we do. There are other places you can get that sort of mentorship, which you may well be aware of, but I find it very hard to believe you'll succeed without that place to go and get your work reviewed. So I think those are 3 things you can do. Some you can do on your own, some things that you just need to accept in your own heart and your own soul, and other things that you need to, go out into the world and look for. But that's how people learn in general. That's the journey deal.
Yeah, perfect. I'm not even going to add to that because
it was so fucking comprehensive.
Oh man, wow, change my password to Nick's achievements.
Yeah, leave that out actually, so that we don't have to put you can bleep stuff out, can't you?
Ridiculous. You've got time to do this thing. If you'd like to apply for the job, this video. Right, so
cool.
This was loads. We'll cover that stuff in the future.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that from me. Right, this is a longer one, but I'm going to read it because I think it all might be interesting and set a nice picture. I've been actually mulling over my biggest challenge, and it's part of the reason I joined Fix. I work in an agency. I specialize in meta ads and emails, both flows and regular blasts. For e-commerce businesses, I'm the head of copy, but it's a team of one, just me. My challenge is that I want to get better and better at what I do, but currently the only copy feedback I get is from clients, and sometimes you trust or rate that, and sometimes you don't. I think the only way to get better is to have other people who really know their stuff in my niche to critique my writing, because I know it could be better. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts too. And then I'm just trying to work out. Well, no, that's a separate email.
Just on that,
So we stop there, and then we'll do that second.
I'm not going to go into the fix, the stuff that we are. Yeah, the fix again, because that is, we've always talked about that. Well, he said, I write meta, and I assume that means Facebook.
I'm sure.
If you write Facebook ads, you're not the only person on this planet writing Facebook ads. So I think if you want feedback from other people in your niche or niche, as
Our American
friends say, I mean, I would say you should be able to sort of find your own little network there of fellow Facebook ad writers. I mean, it might be a little bit tricky, but find places where writers hang out, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook, join writers groups and say, look, I've got this challenge. There will be other people in the same situation as you. And it's, it can be a great way of sort of bonding with people, building a little network. Find 3 or 4 other people that seem to be having the same challenge or work in the same format as you or whatever, and say, look, would everybody be free for an hour once a month to just knock some ideas around or provide a bit of feedback? Getting feedback from people who you don't work with is actually really good. It's a really good way to get feedback because they've got no reason to coat your copy up. They're dispassionate, especially if you've only sort of met them online or whatever. They've sort of got nothing at stake. That actually creates a really nice sort of baggage-free environment for somebody to just say, have you ever thought about just doing it like this? And you can think, I never thought about that. So I think you need to go out there and actively build that network.
Part of the reason I pretend to be an idiot.
Yeah.
I am actually an idiot. Pretend. Part of the reason I pretend that I'm a foolish and just look at copy and don't bother researching it is partly because sometimes you'll look at it first, Nick, so at least we've got some kind of overall courage. But it is because I've learned that the baggage that you bring, if you're trying to show yourself in a marketing team, in a copy team, in a thing, actually, totally missing 1 and 4 U's here. It's like, shut up, that's not helping me. I'm not having a natural reaction to the copy. And so often the natural reaction to a piece of copy is, I'm not really bothered about it. It doesn't matter that I know what it's trying to do. I'm just not bothered about it. That's a real problem, because when you send a piece of copy out into the world, be it a Facebook ad, be it an email, be it whatever form it wants to take, people are not sat there ready to critique your copy. They're just going to go, I'm interested in that, yes or no. So going out to people with as little baggage as possible, to your partner. I have a slide in the presentation I used to do that said, show Ruth, because she does not give a crap. So she will just go, I don't get it. I don't care. What's it? Any good piece of copy, I know you target an audience, you target your reader and do all that.
They're still people.
But it's still people. And any really good piece of copy will make you go, I'm quite interested in that. Like I was just saying about a book I'm reading at the moment, probably in an area that I don't really read that often. I'm not really messing with it. But because it was written in a really engaging way, I'm like, okay, I'm reading, I'm leaning in, I want to find out about it. That's how good copy, truly good copy that transcends and really outperforms other pieces of copy will react. So the less you look at with actual copywriters and all that kind of stuff, don't get me wrong, you need to do that for the technical side, but it's good to get a little group of people that aren't there.
I think the underlying would be that is a solvable problem. I don't need to say that in context anyway. What you need to do, and now I am talking directly to the person that wrote that message, you want to find 3 other people who write Facebook ads and are willing to provide feedback. Okay, those people exist. There's a big market. Yes, you might have a little bit of a hard time finding exactly where they are online, but they're probably on Facebook because that's where they work. They might be at Copywriters Unite. They might be a friend of a friend or a friend of a colleague or whatever. That's a solvable problem. You say, how do I build that network? And once you flip it like that, it starts to become not this big nebulous abstract problem, but actually, how do I find those people? They are out there 100%. We have people at the Fix who do this sort of thing. So that's why.
And just add as well, just as a slightly out of the box thinking exercise. So what we're looking at here, you've got other copywriters. You can join the Fix Accelerator. You can do that kind of thing. You can find your little tribe of copywriters who can help you, who might be in your niche or niche. You can go to people outside of the game, partners, family, friends, who are going to give you that natural human reaction to that stuff. But a third one, I've covered it in other ways, but just I'd add it to that group. You can go to your customers and the client and the people who are reading your copy. Go and see the customer service team. If you're head of copy, it's just you in that team. Go to the other people in the team that you wouldn't necessarily normally think about. Go to the customer services, see what they're saying. Have a look around the copy and see what the feedback's coming from those outlets as well. We just do not do that enough.
Customer service agents are always a goldmine.
Yeah, massively so.
Because they're right on the front line. They have a really difficult job. Deal with the customer when they're at their angriest, usually. They're well worth talking to. Right, there was a second part of that question.
Well, I've got to work out if it was my bad editing. I think it was another email.
Right, next challenge.
So I'm going to, I'll do that one. And if it is, do a supply one, then you'll get a double answer. But I think it's a separate one. I've been out in picture for a few months because I decided copywriting as a full-time gig wasn't filling me with glee, as I hoped it would. I'm now employed working 3 days a week in marketing and love being part of a team again. The other 2, I do small client projects, mainly web copy in conjunction with a local designer. I've had a few personal challenges too, but primarily what was holding me back from wanting to develop my business and self. As a copywriter, I was doing it all myself. I'm downright terrible at marketing myself, and if I could do it all again, I'd allocate some of the money I spent on my website branding, coaching courses, etc., and pay someone to handle it all for me. The various online groups I've joined have all been great, but ultimately I'm a collaborative creative and need to be among good people while I work. Also, I live, and I'm going to say where you live.
Your diction on this is suffering.
Yeah, sorry.
What's the challenge?
That's what I'm trying to read and read ahead. I've lived around the perfect balance with copyright target, and I'm remaining open to opportunities. Thank you for all you do. You see, I think that is the second part of that email.
Okay.
So
I'm just going to say, because there is a way of answering parts of that. One, if your goal was to do X, and X didn't work out, and you're much happier doing Y, that's a win. You've learned something about yourself, and you're happy.
Yeah.
2, you don't have to go it alone. If you're a very collaborative person, you like working with other people, you like being part of a team, then maybe when you go it alone and you start your own agency or you start your own freelance thing, it might be as part of a collective. There's it doesn't have to be an agency. It can be a group of people that go it alone together.
Yeah.
You don't have to say I'm going to start off on my own and have my own website and all those things. Yeah, if you're a collaborative person, then collaborate. It's fantastic.
We're increasingly seeing that. I won't name names, but actually I can name Nitz and Andrew, Andy and Ben Hampson and Martin, can't remember his surname, Williams, started. They were 3 independent copywriters working in tangent here in Manchester, actually. I think Andy might be coming for a drink tonight. But we can pool our resources, we can therefore present as a bigger agency, get bigger clients and all that kind of stuff. But more so, I know Andrew wouldn't admit to this, but it was the collaborative aspect, and they could draw off each other's strengths and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely worth it. And I know a few other copywriters, big names who people know, looking to work together.
Well, we had a conversation earlier about another business that we were involved with, and we were having a conversation about a copywriter who might want to be involved, and we were discussing whether or not they'd want to go it alone or be a part of something. And both of those are perfectly valid options. It depends what you want and what you like. And I would say if you've realised that you love being part of a team, you love collaborating, then that's great. Your plan should have that at its heart. And really, it becomes a question of who do I collaborate with, not do I collaborate or not. It's a different challenge.
Well done, you managed to find a challenge in what was not a challenge.
I saw a challenge and I answered the challenge.
So, by the way, this email, actually, there's a precise challenge at the end. Go for it. It was a big preamble before it. And I'd just like to say, whilst you can see my face, please do that. I love to get all these emails, get the detail, but I'm going to skip it just because I read half an email that I didn't need to read that. This goes down to the precise challenge. Choosing the right framework for a product, brand, or service. And to the right, it says PAS, FAB. This will give you close to where you're going. AIDA, so AIDA, you probably heard of, and the 4 Ps. Whether it's our 4 Ps, there is another 4 Ps. Actually.
Yeah.
So we have all of these systems, like the 4 Ps, the 4 U's, all this kind of stuff. It says, how do you think about which copywriting techniques to use for each project? And I'll expand that over because this is a touch point more for me. These things we refer to the 4 U's, we refer to the 4 Ps. We also have a love-hate relationship with these systems. People say, oh yeah, I've been trading data, yeah, I know all that. What's your take on systems generally?
Yeah.
Where's the good you can draw from them? Where's the bad?
I'm not happy. Not happy. No, it's the wrong way of thinking about things. To say, what technique or framework do I select?
Yep.
No, I don't think you should do. I don't think you should start like that. I think they're like tools in your toolkit, but you don't start with a spanner and just say, I'll use the spanner this time. You say, well, what is it we wanted? Well, they wanted a creme brulee. We've got a fucking spanner in your hand now. Like, sorry, I've become very foul-mouthed in this episode. I think it's because we're in person.
It's still not getting edited out. All I can see, by the way, is I've been reading about Julian Assange, and it just feels very Assange.
They're not going to bust out.
I watched Lady Gaga. Anyway.
Right. So, no, I don't think that's the right way of starting a project. You don't select one. You have to come up with an idea first, and that's a much more nebulous thing. Of all of the things, I think PAS presumably is problem, agitate, solution. Presumably, again, not something that I would ever say, I'll select this one.
Pineapple strawberry.
Yeah, it's just the wrong way. It starts with the idea, the completely false idea, that there are sort of copywriting secrets and secret techniques.
I would argue that it doesn't start with the idea at all.
No.
It constrains you into a frame.
So what is it? AIDA?
AIDA is something like attention, interest, desire.
This is all bullshit. I don't know who is teaching people to write copy like that. That's not how you do it. Okay, it's maybe how you teach a marketing. But it's not true. That's not how you write copy at all. That's not how you do it.
It's true, kids. It's true.
It's a lie to say that that's where you start. You start with your product and your prospect. You think about the problems that your prospect has and how your product might seek to solve those problems. And you think about those two things, and then you try to come up with an idea that takes, presents your product in that light, or talks about that problem that the reader has in that, and then presents a solution. That's why I sort of referenced problem, agitate, solution, because of all of the things, if I was completely stuck, I might say, let's start by writing to the reader about the problem they have, just because it would start you off talking to a customer about an emotional problem. Not because the technique or the framework works, but because, okay, I at least know you're thinking about a problem and how you can agitate that, I suppose. You are in the right space to come up with a copywriting idea. But the whole first process is much more nebulous than that. You've got to go through that work, you've got to do a bit of research and a bit of thinking and come up with an idea that solves that challenge between product and prospect and whatever we're talking about there, an idea that is in that space. And then you can go to the toolkit and say, might we use the 4 U's to sharpen this headline? Can we restructure this lead using the 4 P's? Can we, I don't know what the AI, DA one is. Can we rub that on it somehow if only for appearance's sake?
Oh no, you're talking about the rub one. That's the Olivia one.
But you use those. It's like they're like the chisel that you make the sculpture with. You've got to lay out the raw slab of marble first, and you start to shape it with this.
No, I mean to literally jump on a metaphor.
But is there a slab?
But isn't when like Raphael or Michelangelo would describe that slab, they can already see the idea of what the David would look like, and then it's just using these things to chip away. But you have to be able to see that.
They are tools. Even techniques is really the wrong word. They are not things you can start with. The idea comes from somewhere else, and it talks to the customer, and it talks about the product somehow. Yes, that's nebulous, but that's the whole point. It's hard to do. They are things that you bring to bear afterwards. They are things you can do to shape and tighten and strengthen your work, but you don't need to start with them. And I think this isn't a criticism of the person that sent the question in, but the conceit of the question suggests that that person has been given some advice that to me is 100% wrong. It starts in completely the opposite. It really annoys me that people go out there and talk about this stuff. The secret to writing good copy is the 4 Ps. No, it's not. That's not true.
But if you do want to know the answer, any product that's priced lower than £10, you use the 4 Ps. £10, £50, you use ADA. Problem Undertake Solution, that's for products beginning with Y. That's not in it's a trend for you. Use those as tools at best.
Yeah.
And
I was 3 works for reviewing your...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, 4 U's that we kind of lean on, 4 Ps, they, for me, are kind of, right, I've done all the work, I've gone to the product, I've gone to the person, I've got this all happening, and it's all been done in my head and whatever. But that's still not right there.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Is it urgent?
Yeah.
Is it useful? Is it ultra-specific? Is it unique? If one of those is missing, right, cool. But if I just said, Nick, come up with something that's useful. Well, it just doesn't.
The ADA one where it's like, okay, start with attention. I mean, how does that even help? I think the 4 U's, making a headline more specific or more urgent or more unique or whatever the other one is. I forget how it's forget. Those were 3 of the 4 U's.
Urchins.
Yeah.
Has it got street urchin?
That can help, but how do you make something more attention grabbing?
Yeah.
Do you put more exclamation marks?
Don't. Triggering me.
Yeah. Don't think about it like that. Don't listen to anybody that presents the idea of copywriting. That the journey you go on to come up with a piece of copy does not start with those things. Those things come in much, much later. Anyone that pretends otherwise run a million miles away from them. They don't know what they're talking about.
Please write to us to tell us that you are telling people.
Yeah, you can come
challenge you head on.
You can come on the show and we will take a look at your copy on screen and you can tell us.
Quickly say to end this episode, you just need to run a snatch like them.
Right.
We will offer it out as a thing, not as a fight.
No,
but in genuine seriousness, I want to get to a place where us copywriters, us all sat here in this room, and you watching at home and all those people behind me, where we can talk about only. I'd love to get someone who really believes in ADA, come on the show and tell us why are you telling people to follow this, because we might be missing something. In brackets, we're not, but we might be, and we're happy to.
I would suggest that just really cut into the core of the industry-wide problem.
Hello. So, wait, let me read.
Which one are they?
I don't really know. We ended that episode.
This is fine. There's no one's going to listen to it.
With absolute vitriol but the camera cut out as we did, so we don't know how much we got. We literally don't know. It might edit out fine, it might not. But this is us ending it by going, goodbye everyone, good night. We'll see you again soon. See you for another episode of The Fix.
Night night, love you.
Love you.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.